November 20th virtual meeting of your State Board of Elections to order. Madam Secretary, would you call the roll, please?
Yes, I will. Chairman O'Bannon,
Here.
Vice Chair Dance,
Here.
Mr. Weinstein,
Here.
Delegate Merricks, Secretary Alvis Long here.
Great. Thank you very much. Would you go ahead and present the minutes of the December 4th meeting, please?
Certainly. Mr. Chairman, the minutes from the December 4th meeting have been sent to the board for their review. I'm requesting, if there's no corrections or additions to be made, that you ask for a motion to approve them.
Thank you very much. Is there a motion?
Mr. Chair, I so move.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Call the roll, please.
Certainly. Chairman O'Bannon,
Yeah, aye.
Vice Chair Dance,
Aye.
Mr. Weinstein,
Aye.
Delegate Merricks, Secretary Alvis Long, aye.
Great. Thank you very much. So, Ms. Tyson, we are legal as far as a virtual meeting, and folks that want to join us have joined us.
Yes, sir.
Great. Unless one of the members of the board has an objection, I think it makes sense to choose to not have a closed session today. They are somewhat difficult in these virtual meetings, and there really isn't, unless Mr. Andrews feels otherwise, I don't think there's anything so compelling we can't do it at our mid-January meeting. So unless there's an objection, we'll just let everybody know that we will not plan to have a closed session today. Everybody okay with that?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Great.
Fine with me.
Yes.
All right. We did have some folks that wanted to do public comment. Are they queued up?
Yes, the first person that we have is Eric Brazel. I hope I'm saying your last name right. I'm so sorry.
So I want to remind everybody that you're welcome to do public comment. We appreciate them. We will ask that you be brief, and we'll have just a 3-minute general time frame for these. So go ahead, sir, and introduce yourself, and we'll be glad to hear your comments.
Thank you to the State Board of Elections for having me speak today. My name is Eric Brazil. I'm the chairman of the Brunswick County Republican Committee. And at the end of your docket today, you're going to be reviewing a removal request regarding one of our Republican electoral board members by the name of Renee Rice. And I just wanted to take a moment to tell you, as the Republican chair of Brunswick County, that I do want to just strongly encourage this board to decide in favor of removing Renee Rice. A little bit of background information is she has missed the last 4 electoral board meetings, and she is also a no-show on election day, did not work a single early voting shift, did not show up on election day. I have, as a chairman, requested her resignation. She then, I'm not going to quote her because it was inappropriate language, but cussed me out and told me that if I contact her again, that she will sue me for harassment. I'm not looking to make friends. I'm looking for Brunswick County to have adequate legal representation as the Republican Party on the county electoral board. And Renee Rice has not been to the last 4 meetings, nor to have an option of providing a judge for either so we can have adequate representation for the Republican Party on our local county election board. And as chairman, I just of the Republican committee here in Brunswick, I just wanted an opportunity to say those reasonings for you guys, and look forward to hearing your decision. And I thank you all for your time, and God bless you all for what you do for the state.
Thank you, sir, for choosing to come on and make your comments. We have the paperwork. I did note that the request is on official Brunswick County stationery, and that your current other electoral board members and registrar are all supportive of this action. So we appreciate that very much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Let me acknowledge Delegate Don Merrick's.
I'm here.
So may we include you as a yes vote on being here and on supportive of the minutes that were presented?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us. All right, so that puts us in a decent posture. Other public comment?
I have Anne Gregorian.
Ms. Gregorian, welcome.
Yes, thank you. Just briefly, I would hope that the Department of Election or the State Board could reveal to the public there was a policy issued by elect after the last election had already been underway regarding the last four of the Social Security numbers on the early in-person absentee ballots. And elect had put out a policy removing the viewing and the validation of that information on envelope B, I believe, by the election officers assigned to do pre-processing in CAP. I have written to our Attorney General, but not received a response, but I think that elect itself could provide what policy or what code they are relying on to restrict access to election officers, sworn election officers, to validating material information on the absentee ballots, seeing that the only thing that I see that addresses a Social Security number is 2.2-3815, which determines that only the first 5 numbers of the Social Security number are considered PII, private information. So I'm curious what law was relied on to make the determination and remove the validation of material information on absentee ballot envelopes from duly appointed election officials. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. Anybody else, Ms. Tyson?
That is all the public comment that I have.
All right. Commissioner's report.
Mr. Ken Vander Reed was asking to speak as well. I'm not sure if he's on.
Sorry, who is this?
This is
That's Yolanda.
for Mr. Ken Vander Reed. He asked to speak, but I'm not sure if he's on.
That's fine. Mr. Vander Vidi, welcome.
Just unmuted you, Mr. Kenneth.
Hello.
Yes, sir, welcome.
Mr. Vander Reed, you will have to unmute yourself.
How's that now?
Yes, sir, thank you. Welcome. Go ahead.
Okay. I have 3 items to bring to the attention of the board. The board has recently received a report outlining the fatal weaknesses of risk limiting audits. I will not repeat those findings here, other than to say that the literature is very clear that there is essentially no value to such audits. And I am confirming that assessment as a person who has earned the CPA designation and worked in major audit firms earlier in my career. To paraphrase the inventor of risk limiting audits, Philip Stark, who subsequently disavowed their utility, risk limiting audits are magic dust to be sprinkled on otherwise untrustworthy election processes, lend them a patina of credibility. The report also notes that in the past, ELECT has misrepresented the findings of risk limiting audits. ELECT has implicitly represented through their choice of language that risk limiting audits have the efficacy of full forensic audits, which they do not. The board is being asked to review any future press release by ELECT prior to release to assure that ELECT limits their public comments to realistic assessment of the efficacy of those audits, and further, that they provide caveats that risk limiting audits cannot detect either mail-in or illegal persons voter fraud. Second item refers to the serious issue of Virginia's highly inflated registration list, which is estimated to have well over 1 million false registrations even after removing inactive registration. This assessment is corroborated by data from EAC, the elections watchdog group Electoral Process Education Corporation, and the the law firm of Boltzmann Vogel. This may be the most serious issue facing the board, as no future election can be deemed fully credible until all false registrations are demonstrated to be purged from the list. To this end, it is imperative that the board understand how the registration lists have become so corrupted. It is not a simple explanation, such as people have either moved away or died. Further, the board needs to set a target which to measure progress towards cleaning up those registration lists. Ideally, that metric should be the historical national ratio of approximately 70% of registrations to the eligible population. Otherwise, the board will be flying blind as to the adequacy of progress by elect in addressing this condition. From elect's press releases, it is unlikely that the actions being taken by elect, although positive, will move the needle near enough to get to that 70% ratio in time for the 2024 election. The board must exercise strong governance to articulate and drive the reforms needed to get there.
You have about
Third, the board should review the Joint Heartland Institute Rasmussen poll, which was just released, which displayed the following headline: 1 in 5 mail-in voters admitted to committing at least one kind of voter fraud during the 2020 election. This is another wake-up call to the board about the folly of mass mail-in voting. Okay, that ends my comments. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments and your interest. We appreciate it. Anybody else, Ms. Tyson?
I don't have anyone else on my end. Yolanda, do you have anyone on your end?
No, I don't.
Okay, we should be all done with public comment, Chairman O'Bannon.
Thank you very much. All right, Commissioner Beals.
Chairman O'Bannon, Vice Chair Dance, and members of the board, good afternoon. First, I just wanted to thank those localities, those general registrars, elected board members, and volunteers who participated in the House of Delegates 82nd District recount yesterday. They did come up with the same outcome, same result of that recount, but thank you so much for the work that was put in to make that happen quickly and efficiently and thoroughly. There were also some additional local recounts that have happened since the election in Lunenburg, in Caroline, and Henrico. And forgive me if I'm missing you, if you also did a recount that I didn't mention. Special thanks to those localities for handling those very efficiently and thoroughly. Did want to let you know that we are having 4 special elections now on January 9th in Virginia. The first one is the Alexandria City School Board District A. The second one is Virginia Beach City Council District 1. And then, of course, the Virginia House of Delegates 48th District and the Virginia Senate District 9 special elections. All of those will occur on the 9th. And then our board will meet on the 17th of January to certify. That is a change. So for all of our members. And then finally, today, as you know, you're going to be setting the presidential primary ballot order for the primary. We do have a dual primary this year in Virginia for the presidential primary, which means that both parties are having a primary. When a voter goes in to vote, they will be asked to choose which primary they are voting in. So they will be asked to choose a Democrat or a Republican ballot. That does not mean that anyone's trying to ask them what party they're with. They're just asking them what ballot they would like to vote, because you cannot vote in both. You can only vote in one of those primaries. As you know, early voting starts January 19th for the March 5th presidential primary. Virginia has its presidential primary on Super Tuesday with about 14 other states. So there'll be a number of states on that day, but we do begin early voting on the 19th. I will also add in that we are looking at needing roughly 20,000 officers of election for 2024 in Virginia. We will have 3 major elections on March 5th and June 18th, and in November, the November general. Each of those elections will have 45 days of early voting. So we are going to need a lot of volunteers and officers of election to pull that off. So as much as you have your sphere of influence, please invite people to apply to be officers of election. We desperately need their help this year to make our elections work. And with that, that's my report.
Thank you very much. Any members of the board have any questions or comments? Susan, I think we've historically had citizens who whatever reason, did not totally understand that they couldn't get two ballots and vote for whom they wanted. Any added value? I mean, I guess the respective political parties and the localities are already aware of this and educating the voters as much as possible that that's the way these things, dual primaries, work.
And I know that many of our registrars will be providing a posted notice outside of their polling places that cites the code section that says you may only vote in one primary. You may not vote in both.
Okay, thank you. And that meeting on January 17th to certify the specials, is that going to be virtual?
I think we would like to have it be in person so that you can sign their certificate of election and the new senator can get sworn in immediately.
Gotcha. Just a reminder for everybody, January 17th.
Taking place of the meeting on the 20th.
Yes, sir.
So the meeting on the 23rd will still go down?
No, that will be moved to the 17th.
So bring your slippers because that's also stand by your ad day.
I think I think that might be moved until March based on the changes you make today.
We're going to make changes. So the item of business will be certification.
Correct.
Great. All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate taking
Thank you.
time.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I think we can't have back-to-back virtual meetings, so I think we definitely have to come.
Gotcha. All right. So 17th will be in person. Stand by your ad will be moved to March. No meeting on January 23rd. Great. Thank you. All right. Next item of business is presidential ballot order. Mr. Saunders, I see you got the canisters ready.
I do, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. And can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right, outstanding. Person seeking access to the 2024 presidential primary ballot submitted petitions to the Virginia Department of Elections as required by the filing schedule set by this board on May 30th, 2023. The petitions were transmitted to the Republican and Democratic parties as required by law. On December 16th, 2023, the Democratic Party of Virginia certified the following candidates qualified to appear on the 2024 Democratic presidential primary ballot: Joseph R. Biden Jr., Marianne Williamson, and Dean Benson Phillips. On December 18th, 2023, the Republican Party of Virginia certified the following candidates qualified to appear on the 2024 Republican presidential primary ballot: Donald J. Trump, Nikki R. Haley, Vivek Ramaswamy, Chris Christie, Ron DeSantis, and Ryan L. Binkley. Each of those above names has been printed on a strip of paper, and I'll be placing those names into these film canisters, and then I'll conduct the order for candidates to be presented on the ballot. Unless there's any objection or questions from the board, I can start that drawing now.
Absent objection, please go ahead.
All right. I'm going to start with Democratic Party primary ballot order drawing.
Say the names when you show it.
When I pull it. The order on the name or the order on the ballot for the Democratic presidential primary be Marianne Williamson, Joseph R. Biden,
Someone's at the front door doorbell.
and Dean Phillips. All right, we'll now draw for order for Republican presidential primary.
Front door.
Chris Christie, Ryan Binkley, Ron DeSantis, Nikki Haley, Vivek Ramaswamy, and Donald J. Trump.
Great. Thank you very much. Any questions? Is there a motion to,
Mr. Chairman, I still need to actually do the drawing for Republican primary.
oh, I'm sorry, you're just starting.
I was just putting the names in the
Man. All right, good.
The order for the Republican presidential primary ballot as follows. Chris Christie, Ryan Binkley, Vivek Ramaswamy,
Front door.
Donald Trump, Ron DeSantis, and Nikki Haley.
Okay, so, thank you. Is there a motion that we approve the names drawn at random for the Democratic primary of Williamson, Biden, and Phillips, Republican primary Christie, Binkley, Ramaswamy, Trump, DeSantis, and Haley? Is there a motion to that effect?
Mr. Chair, I move that we certify the ballot order as drawn.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you. Would you please call the roll, Madam Secretary? Unmute yourself.
Oh,
Thank you.
excuse me. Chairman O'Bannon,
Aye.
Vice Chair Dance,
Aye.
Delegate Merrick's,
Aye.
Mr. Weinstein,
Aye.
Secretary Elvis Long, aye.
Great. Thank you very much, Mr. Saunders.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Next item is an informational report on the results of our risk limiting audits. Claire Scott?
Yes, Chairman O'Bannon. Good afternoon, Chairman O'Bannon, members of the State Board of Elections. Pursuant to 24.2-671.2H, elect is required to provide a report on the results and lessons learned after every RLA performed. Today, I am giving you a brief overview of the results, but the details of the RLAs performed, as well as the lessons learned, are detailed in the statutorily required report in your working papers. This year, elect supervised the performance of 4 RLAs over the course of 2 weeks. The most elect in the elections community has done at once. I and the rest of the elect staff appreciate the time and efforts of the general registrars and electoral board members who participated in these RLAs. Without further ado, let's first discuss Senate District 20. On November the 15th, Senate District 20 was selected as the random General Assembly race to be audited. This district included Norfolk, Virginia Beach, Northampton County, and Accomack County. The RLA was performed on November the 27th, and the risk limit was met in the first round, confirming the outcome reported by the electronic voting systems in that area. Additionally, we had three localities apply for a batch comparison method RLA. These localities were Arlington for the Senate District 40, Orange County for Sheriff, and Loudoun County for House of Delegates 27. These RLAs took place over the course of the last 2 weeks of November, and each locality achieved their risk limit and confirmed the reported outcome of the electronic voting systems used in those localities. Afterwards, ELECT met with each group of participants and took feedback, as well as best practices that will be incorporated into future revisions of the RLA manual, as well as the development of additional training in preparation for the RLAs to take place in 2024 and beyond. Once again, ELECT thanks the election community for making these RLAs a success. And this was a very brief overview of the results of those RLAs, but details, including what was discussed, as well as the feedback that was incorporated into the report, are in the report that is attached to your board working papers. Without further ado, if there's any questions.
Thank you very much for that report. Any members of the board have any questions? So just for the record, we did the code required RLA, and we also did some locally requested batch comparison ones, all of which turned out consistent with the counts that were done. We also had recounts done in several areas, which have not changed the outcome of any of these elections. So at least I think that's worth stating. Anybody else have any questions? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir.
Item of business is stand by your ad policy revision. You need to approve these after they're presented. Ms. Alexander.
Good afternoon. Hello, board. Hello, Chairman O'Bannon. I'm going to have Mr. Koski take care of this since he is my campaign finance legal eagle and he prepared this document and did a fantastic job. So take it away, Steve.
Thank you, Tammy. Hello, Mr. Chair and members of the board. We talked about this last month, so there's nothing really new here, but we revised the policy in furtherance of what we talked about. So the big things that were done here was we clarified that the determination of whether a communication is an advertisement is based upon the definitions and the scope that are set forth in the law. And then we looked at a few due process things as well. We increased the notice period for respondents from 10 days to 21 days. A lot of the things that it's a really tight timeline when people receive it. So even though the Stand By Your Ad law requires a minimum of 10 days, you are allowed to exceed that. So we extended that. We related to that for a due process when there are subpoena requests, we built in some extra time there as well. And then the final thing is that we eliminated the specific requirement that the meetings be held in January and August. There's still a requirement that the board must meet twice per year to hear complaints related to two specific time periods, but there's more flexibility about when those meetings have to be held. And then one final thing, based upon Mr. Weinstein's suggestion related to the policy, and I think it's a good idea. He said that it would be easier for people reading the policy to have the statutes attached to it. So I created a version that does do that. It says see Appendix A, and then it includes the statutes as the appendix. So in terms of your approval of this, if at the end of the motion, somebody can just, say as presented with the additional or with the additions suggested by Mr. Weinstein, I think that would suffice.
Great, thank you. Yeah, Matthew, thanks for doing that. I think it makes sense for people to have the code citations right at hand. I think when we make the motion, we will just make it inclusive of that, hopefully make it inclusive of that one addition. Any questions from board members of Mr. Koski? Is there a motion?
I just want to thank staff for doing this. Hopefully this will make our future Stand By Your Ad meetings be a little bit clearer and run smoothly. So both the candidates, the board and staff are all on the same page about what's in advertising. We can go from there. And thank you for considering my amendment as well.
Would you like to make a motion?
Sure, Mr. Chair. I move that the State Board of Elections adopts the revised Stand By Your Ad hearings policy as presented and amended by the inclusion of Exhibit A, the definitions of the relevant code sections.
There's a second.
Second.
Thank you, Delegate Merrick. Any other discussion? Madam Secretary, call the roll, please.
Yes. Chairman O'Bannon,
Aye.
Vice Chair Dance,
Aye.
Delegate Merricks,
Aye.
Mr. Weinstein,
Aye.
Secretary Elvis Long, aye.
All right. Thank you all very much. I think this will
Thank you.
better posture for handling these. So hopefully they will maybe be a little simpler and straightforward. All right, Mr. Saunders, you're up for the local request here.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Per Virginia Code Section 24.2-234.1, subsection A, any member of a local electoral board may be removed from office by the circuit court in whose jurisdiction he resides upon a petition signed by a majority of the members of the state board. It is at the discretion of the state board today to take action in this matter. In your working papers, you have the Brunswick County Electoral Board and General Registrar's allegations against Renee Rice and their request for a removal from the Electoral Board. If the board were to vote to take action today on this request, it would need to complete the petition for removal of an Electoral Board member and would likely need to do so in consultation with council. If there is a possible motion included in the board's memorandum in your working papers today, and just so the board knows, staff did notify Renee Rice that the board would be considering this at the board meeting today in advance of the meeting. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And I think it's useful to note that this is to a measure procedural. These people are appointed by judges and need to be removed by judges, but it passes through us. On this one, I think it's pretty straightforward. It's we heard the Republican Party local chair. We've got a letterhead and a note from the local government. So I don't have any additional. Any members of the board have any questions about this?
Mr. Chair, just to put another fine point on that, I think just to be clear what our role is here, we're allowing the local circuit court, we're approving a petition to send to the local circuit court to look into the merits of removing this particular electoral board member. We're not voting on the merits here. It's simply a procedural vote.
That's correct. Thank you. All right. Is there a motion?
Mr. Chair, I move pursuant to 24.2-234.1 of the Code of Virginia, the State Board of Elections requests legal representation to prepare a petition to the Circuit Court of Brunswick County for the removal of Renee Rice from the Brunswick County Electoral Board.
I second.
All right. Any further discussion? Clerk, Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Yes. Chairman O'Bannon,
Aye.
Vice Chair Dance,
Aye.
Delegate Merricks,
Aye.
Mr. Weinstein,
Aye.
Secretary Elvis Long, aye.
Thank you all very much for that. I will remind everybody that Ms. Thompson and Commissioner Beals will have to work some magic because the board needs a piece of paper signed by each one of us for this to get to the circuit court. So you may get a packet through UPS or FedEx to sign something and send it back in the next few days.
Okay.
Complete that action. All right, is anything else anybody on the board wishes to bring up or discuss?
Chairman O'Bannon,
Yes, ma'am.
I'd just like to wish everyone happy holidays.
All right, thank you. All, high fives all around.
Yep.
So hope everybody has a happy, healthy holiday. We will see each other on January the 17th. And Commissioner Beals, thank you and all your folks for the hard work that you've done. I feel good about our elections this year. Hopefully we'll do as well next year, but it'll be a bigger turnout. So everybody be prepared. Anything else for the good of the cause? Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
We would just need to adjourn the meeting.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
I so move, Mr. Chair.
All right, call the roll.
Chairman O'Bannon,
Aye.
Vice Chair Dance,
Aye.
Delegate Merrick's,
Aye.
Mr. Weinstein, Secretary Alice Long, aye.
All right, thank you all.
See you next year.
See you next year.